What is going on, everybody? It is your boy. I am back. F.T.B.S breakdown number 41. And today I thought I'd just have a general conversation about KOF 15, about where the game is headed. We all know that there's a patch coming up next month. We don't know how soon or how late it's going to be, but we do know this, that patch is either going to make or break this game. That'll probably be the patch that we'll roll right into Evo with. And I just want to share my thoughts about the game and then just give some changes that I would like to see made for KOF 15 going forward. So let's just jump right into it. So the game, we all know that KOF it came out in February. The game is in a very vulnerable state. I can see the interest for the game slowly starting to deteriorate. This can be due to a number of factors. But I know one of the biggest factors for me going forward is player retention, right? I don't think SNK did everything in their power to really keep players playing the game. What do I mean by that? Their story mode is still a general arcade, old school type story mode. You play this team, you get to the end, you clear the levels, you get to the end, you get a cinematic. Had they just put a little more time into the story mode, which I thought that they would, because a lot of fighting games have been taking an honest crack at like developing a cinematic story mode. And I don't know if you guys seen the opening cinematic for KOF 15, but please go check it out. It is a masterpiece. Even when you beat the game, there are these anime snippets of the game that are like, they're just gorgeous to look at. Had they expanded on that to tell their story, it would have really kept players playing because the characters would have been more flushed out and you could like characters for reasons outside of gameplay. Isla's a prime example of this because she's a newer character, right? And Dolores too, they're two opposite ends of the spectrum. People like Dolores because of, well, the way she looks, but people at first sight really don't know what Isla is about except that she's dripping. I can't believe I just said that I'm 30, but you get the point. You get the point, right? But there's no chance for you to really get to know Isla, when you take a arcade style approach to the game. If they would have done a cinematic story, it would have really helped flush out for the first time the KOF story, and it would have really got people invested in it. You only got so many hours before somebody either choose to stay playing your game or they go on to something else. So the first one, again, is the story. I think it's not too late to kind of have a story expansion or have an actual story. It's just so weird to see that a game like KOF that has always been a tournament-based fighting game as far as the story go, never really got the attention and it never really got the attention it deserved. It never really got the love that it should have had, like that cinematic opening. It would be all too cool to see, some of the better characters in an anime styled environment fight each other. So that's point number one, is story. And it's never too late to kind of expand on that to really get into that single player content. Point number two is DLC. There, you can say this game could all but thrive. I think this game has a pretty good shot at being one of the best KOFs in history, truly. But you got all the pieces have to come together, and a big piece is DLC. Characters will keep people playing your game, And I like their format. So they're going to come out with one team, so that gives you 3 characters, right? There are plenty of characters in the game. The issue with the characters that are in the game now is they're not the characters that people love. There's no Kim, there's no Takuma. There's none of the like classics for the sake of them being classics. Like nobody really played Choi, but people still like to see Choi in the game. Freddy Krueger. They like to see that. But sadly, he's not here. So I think really going out on your DLC and the characters you're going to put in this game is going to really affect player retention and just the game going forward, right? It's going to keep people interested. And I'm all for my new characters. Don't get me wrong. I love new characters. but I think it's time to really start to dig into the vault for KOF 15 and go, hey, remember this guy? He's gonna be in the game. You know, to get people to go, well, what, really? I mean, even a guest character or two wouldn't hurt KOF 15 at this point, you know? So that's that. Now we're gonna move into the more mechanical side, the gameplay side of the game and how it can improve going forward. And first things first, grabs. They gotta go. I'm sorry. Hashtag grabs gotta go. The 0 frame, 1 frame is just not it. I just don't like the way the grab works in this game, and this includes command grabs too. I think one way to mitigate this situation is, okay, so you know how there's the option select where you can hold back and heavy kick, right? And you'll just take the grab. What if it was more like MK, where you had to guess the right button? So if I threw you forward, you have to hit, you know, back in heavy punch or back in light punch. But if I threw you backwards, you would have to hit back in heavy kick or back in light kick. That would kind of mitigate the issue if you just don't want to, you know, do the easy fix and just revert the grab back to how it was in KOF 14. If you really want that to stay the same, okay, fine. But then it adds a little more of a guessing game. You just can't sit there and kind of mash, you know, back and heavy kick on every single jump in attempt from your opposition in hopes that you get a back grab or you clip them and now it's your turn. You know, you actually have to guess, you know. If not, then just heavy kick will come out and you'll get meatied anyways. You know, throws are just, the strike throw ratio is too off-putting. It's too much in throws favors. And I would love to see that be normalized a bit. 2, on the gameplay side, the meter system. I can't be the only one, but maybe I am. Comment down below. But I never feel like I have enough meter in this game. I almost never feel like I have enough meter. You know, between spending bar, you know, EX bar, you may spend, you know, maybe 2 bars worth of meter just to kind of get your opponent to overextend. You know, that might just be chucking fireballs. But then you got, you know, emergency evasion, that cost 1 bar, shatter strike cost 1 bar, and blowback cost 1 bar. And it's you just find yourself without meter more often than not. Even as an anchor, I appreciate the game giving you the meter as you come in. That's a good tactic, but I don't know, man. I just think we need more meter. And I only say that because the meterless combos in this game are really bad. They are really bad combos. They don't do anything. They're almost like combo fodder, if you will, you know? They're just really bad. I mean, the meterless combo system, the meterless combos in KOF 15 is just like, wow, that's it? That's all you get? You know, I would love to see that expanded on a little more going forward. So that way, it's either you give players more meter to play with, or you can take another approach and kind of cut back on things like emergency evasion and blowback and shatter strike. You know, what if those were half bars? I wouldn't say shatter strike because that's pretty powerful, but emergency evasion and blowback, what if they were half bars? So that way, when you finally do roll out of the corner, you still got meter to play with, you know? So, and then continuing with the meter thing, max mode. Max mode has always been this kind of like niche in the game. And I'm not talking about quick max, I mean max mode, the blue stuff. It's always been this kind of Hail Mary attempt, right? Because one, you have to activate it raw, and then you have to go land the hit in order to do any real damage while the meter is still draining. So it's always been this kind of like Hail Mary in my eyes, you know, but it's just not worth it. I think we've moved past that point in fighting games where we need like this kind of Hail Mary mechanic. You know, max mode just isn't worth it outside of the highlight reel combo video touch of death. And, you know, there is a situation where DP punishes. I mean, if you DP punish, you can get a max mode, a full-on max mode combo. But it's other than that, though, it's just not worth it. I mean, quick max is the superior. You know, you get 3 bars, you hit light, you do your quick max, you do your special move, and then you do your climax, and that's about 60% of their health, give or take. You know, and it's like, well, where does max mode really shine in this scenario? So I don't really know what you would do to fix max mode, but it is like, it's just there for the sake of being there. It has no real utility. So I'd love to see that addressed going forward, you know? Now we get into more of the character side of things, of the balance. There are too many characters in this game that do everything. There are too many characters in this game that just do everything. All the characters in KOF 15 can do everything, you know, and while they may excel at one particular thing, you know, it's not unheard of to see like Maxima on point or Maxima in the mid position, you know, because it's, or Terry in the mid position or Terry on point, right? It's not unheard of to see that, you know, when they really excel in the anchor position. So going forward, I'd love to see just more character variety, you know? I think Angel is probably the shining example of what a point character should be, you know, outside of her being a rushdown character. But I mean, if you stuck her anywhere outside of point, you're almost at a net loss because she doesn't use meter. You don't have to use meter with Angel. So you almost put yourself at a net loss when you play her anywhere outside of the point position. And the same could be true with characters like Rio, right? I play Rio. If you point Rio, you're at a net loss because he doesn't have any meter to get his game started. So, you know, just going forward, just seeing more character variety, right? I think Cronin is another good example of what a point character should be, right? He's just annoying. He's just annoying. Short combos, he takes what he can get. And, you know, if anything past the point character is a net win for him, right? So if he beats the point war, if he wins point war, then you're already winning. It's like, well, he did his job, you know, because he's really only there to be annoying, similar to Choi back in the day, Freddy Cougar Man, right? He's just really there to be annoying, to chip away at you. And you just don't see enough of that in KOF. You know, you see a lot of like overlay. There's a lot of overlay. You know, King, Robert, Kyo, Iori, you know, they all have the similar function, quote unquote. Like they all kind of do the same thing, you know, but just in a different style because obviously they're different characters, don't get me wrong, but they all generally do the same thing. You can put up one on point, you can put them mid, or you can put them anchor, you know? So I'd like to see that being explored a little more. And it's the same with the anchor tip, right? Going on the opposite end of the spectrum to anchors. Rio, while he does do amazing damage, if you can open your opponent up, it's just, that's the issue. He doesn't have anything that's really like a can opener. You know, Maxima's got Big Splash, he's got armors on his normals. Terry's got Burn Knuckle, he's got Crack Shoot, he can force the issue, right? These are anchor characters who can force the issue. Even Ash, right? Because he's a zoner, it forces you to come to him, so to speak. You know, so he can kind of get you to trip up and then hit you with his, you know, anchor combos of death. So I would love to see just more character variety going forward, even if it comes through balance of the characters that are already here or the characters that are going to be DLC. I would just love to see more of that balance going forward. And that pretty much wraps up what I got to say about KOF. I think this game has a lot of potential. It just needs to be steered in the right direction on all fronts. Single player, game balance, it just needs to be steered in the right direction. We all know that, like I said, to reiterate, that this next patch coming in May is going to be the patch that is likely going to march into Evo with. And then you may get an update shortly after Evo, maybe around October. But if you don't have enough people playing your game by Evo, I'm going to be a little concerned, fellas. I'm going to be a little concerned. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. If you like this video, consider leaving a like and subscribing. And it's been me, F.T.B.S Breakdown 41, signing out. Catch you on the next one.